All right, welcome to the DAWk Show, a podcast where we deep dive on music, the writing process, and digital audio workstations in a way that is hopefully educational and not too jargony or gatekeepy. And my guest today is Pittsburgh-based singer-songwriter Julianne Wright. Julie, how are you doing?
I am excellent. Thanks.
Yeah, we're shooting this on a Monday morning, so happy Monday.
Yeah, it's okay. This is the second mug of coffee, so it's good.
Oh, nice, 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 nice. But yeah, well, Julie, can you tell us a little bit about where you are on your production journey and singer-songwriter journey?
Sure. I am, let's see. I started out as a public school music teacher for like a decade or so. And then I had this brain surgery and went somewhere else. And I was like, oh, I was going to be a rock star. So, because when I was little, the tape recorder was my first recording experience. When I was a little kid, I would record myself. And then that moved to, I had a dual cassette deck, and my dad was kind of techie. So I had a microphone and I could record a melody or like a harmony over the thing I recorded. So that was my first multi-track dual cassette deck dating myself experience. But really,
Yeah.
really, after, in a transitional period, I went to a place called the Recording Workshop in Chillicothe, Ohio, which is like a 5-week intensive recording school without a degree or anything. I already had one of those for teaching, whatever. And that was 2010. And then since then, I linked into some online sync licensing kind of musician groups and indie musician groups. And through that process, I started co-writing with people and writing lots more songs. And through that whole process of having to make the songs, I learned how to drive the rig a little better. I'm on Pro Tools. It's what they taught me at the place. So I don't know. I'm currently thinking of getting literate in some other one for those days when Pro Tools has its particular hissy fits. I know every workstation kind of has its fun days. So, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the things with the show is seeing all these different DAWs and like learning their different quirks and stuff. Yeah, and that is interesting that yeah, I find that the more collaborations you do and the more like experiments you do where you're just like operating on a budget of hopes and dreams, like that is half of how we learn how to produce.
Yeah. And two, I have kind of a personality where if you tell me there is a puzzle to be solved, and especially if I think you may not think I know how to solve it, maybe because I'm a girl or maybe otherwise.
Yeah.
Tell me I can't do it. And so it's two, it's fun about, it's been fun trying to figure out how to solve the problems, and then later finding out there's a quicker way to get to that I specialize in the long way.
I mean, that's half the fun, right? And what you're saying about puzzles makes me think of a conversation we had, like I think a year ago when you were in town for that Sync conference. And so, listeners, if you've stumbled on this podcast and you don't know what Sync is, you're wonderful. Sync is this is writing music so it gets picked up in film and TV. So it's not like you are hired as a composer to do this specific thing. It's writing a track that has the right vibe to be picked up. And I know I have a complicated relationship with the idea of wanting to do sync, but I'm like sort of curious about it. But Julie, I remember you saying that you liked it because it was like solving a puzzle. And
yeah, it's very left brain, and then I have to be careful because then my artist side is more the right brain. So I got to make sure there's equal time. And I'm just coming to a point where I think I'm going to focus on the right brain. I know all the things they're looking for the sync stuff. And also so many people are apparently writing with that in mind now, that they're really looking for, do you have an artist presence? And so I'm like leaning back into that for several reasons. But yeah, I do it because it's fun.
Yeah. What's your favorite sync puzzle that you've had to solve?
Well, recently, the song that we're, I think, going to talk about today, they were looking for something that sounded authentically to a certain decade. And in this case, it was like the 60s.
Okay.
And oftentimes it's, we want 60s, but we want a modern flair, or we want 60s that was recorded in the 60s, didn't exist. That's going to be difficult for me. So this was fun because we got to make it sound authentic, and mm-hmm. who doesn't love a good mamas and papas vibe song? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Did that answer the question?
I mean, I think that answers the question. I know that there's like, this was more of like a writing to a particular vibe, but then I know there's also like the puzzle of like, even more like genre things, or like, mm-hmm. Depending on what they want as far as like lyrical content goes, and all this other stuff.
Yeah. It just depends. I mean, the ones that are more fun, I think, are the ones that are outside of my general wheelhouse, mm-hmm. where I'm probably going to have to collaborate with someone for it to be authentic. Mm-hmm. But
what's the weirdest genre you've had to write in?
The weirdest genre,
or like the most against type?
Against type, probably straight up pop. Like okay. I did a song that wasn't actually to a brief, I don't think, but it was a typical sync theme, whatever. And I was going to try the pop vocal layering that all the people on YouTube are like, here's what you do. You need 10 or 12 layers of vocals, and it's this and this and this and this. I'm like, I am going to follow this to the T and see what happens, because my voice, I mean, you can't make your voice sound younger, first of all. Once you're an age, you're an age. Mm-hmm. And I've always been told, get a singer if you do that pop song. But if your mix doesn't suck, you might be okay with your own voice. Because I did all these layers, and it was fun figuring all that out and having someone say, yeah, that's a good vocal in it. Oh, yeah? 53, baby. But, so that was fun. It was because I was trying to actually put the pieces together in a prescribed way. What will happen? Oh, yeah. If you do the mix and the tracking right, maybe it'll be okay. Well, these minor things.
Yeah. And who, again, like I'm so against gatekeeping. I'm like, oh yeah, like, well, why can't a 53-year-old track a pop song? Like, come on now.
That's right. Too fun.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. Let's talk about this track you want to share today, and I guess tell the audience a little bit about what it is.
Okay, so this was a brief where they were looking for, as I said, a throwback sound that sounded authentically recorded in the 60s.
Okay.
So this was a co-write with my friend Cinder Shine. She is awesome. And she's in like Southern California. So we did some Zoom meetings and some writing and bouncing ideas back and forth. And yeah, it was born. It's all about, ironically, it's a positive look at rain as a kind of a healing sort of a thing, but there's tambourines and stuff.
Okay.
But it's ironic because she's in Southern California and the rain. Anyway.
It's an imaginary metaphorical thing in Southern California.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. But anyway, so let's do you want to hear like bits of the song?
Yeah, let's listen to bits of the song and then we'll break it down.
Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to start the beginning for a little bit.
There's so many clouds raining down on me. Whoa, 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 gonna set me free. Song in the clouds, sing your melody. And rain, 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 rain on me. I'm dying from the inside out, afraid to hope. I'm lying face down, I need some hope. Then the clouds block the sun, what a relief. redemption coming down from the sky. There's so many clouds raining down on me. Whoa, 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 gonna set me free. Song in the clouds, sing your melody. And rain, 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 rain on me. Ba, 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 ba.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gotta say I'm super proud of the ba ba bas.
I like the ba ba bas a lot.
Is there anything more 60s than a ba ba ba?
Yeah.
But yeah, and all of those harmonies are my pal Cinder. She knocked it out of the park on those.
Nice, yeah. Which by the way, I feel like I've heard multiple people talk about Cinder, but I have not met Cinder.
Yeah, Cinder is she is so shiny. She's got a Facebook group called Flow with Cinder Shine or something. I mean, if you're not you got to follow her. She just lifts.
Okay.
She's one of those people. She's one of those people, where you want to talk to them because you always feel better after.
Okay.
But yeah.
Cool. Cinder, if you're watching, yeah, I'll have to connect with you.
Yeah. She's awesome.
Awesome. Okay, so let's break this down. So I'm just thinking of like what I heard. So like it sounds like it started out, pretty, I guess not simple, but like, pulled back a bit, and then you were like able to add all these different layers. And then by the time I get to the ba ba bas, I'm like, this is great.
Yeah. And there's even the ending is here, check this out. I'm sorry, you got to check this ending out.
Okay.
It's very multi-layered there too. I mean, I can see them on the Coke commercial.
Yeah.
It feels very.
Yeah, it feels Coke commercial, but it also has your artistic signature to it.
Right. That love and flowers kind of feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think is super, super important. That you're able to blend that line. Because I think sometimes with commercial music, it's like, well, this is how, like you're writing to fit in a specific box sometimes, but clearly this is very Juli. This is very, very Juli what is happening here.
Yeah. Well, it's like, can I write a song that checks all these boxes, but is still my song?
Yeah, exactly. All right. We can either like look at our individual tracks, or I guess tell me about the writing process, or figure out the best way to go with this.
Yeah, it started out, this Cinder came up with the main hook, and the lyrical concept was her idea. She sang into a voice memo. Okay. And so I just took the random tempo of her voice memo and did the whole, in every DAW has this, I'm sure, but in Pro Tools, you go down here and I can click this guy and I can tap the T button.
Okay.
To tap the tempo. And it was 113, totally typical tempo, not really. But yeah, so I found the tempo there and then just sort of built the track around it. Cool. I had vinyl turned off. Vinyl is this fun. Do you hear?
Yeah, let's do
it.
Can we do like a little like on and off test so people can hear the difference?
Yeah. So, and real quick, I'm going to open it up. I've got, it was free at one point, but Isotope does it. So look out for that if you're interested. And even though this is a 60s song, I thought the 70s fit it better. You can turn on lo-fi if you want, how much dust, how much scrapping, all that stuff, or scratching. So that's on now. And let's just hear what this chorus 2 sounds like now with it.
The sky, there's so many clouds raining down on me. Whoa, 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 gonna set me free. Song in the clouds, sing your melody.
So cool. Oh, and I should also, this pre-chorus, the warping on the vinyl really makes the pre-chorus sound cooler.
The sun, what a relief, redemption coming down from the sky. The soul.
It makes it kind of warble in a way that's cool.
Yeah, but it's subtle, but I'm hearing it like.
Yeah, and it's it's fun, but I had it turned off because like now it always just plays the scratches if it's turned on. So it's annoying me. So
oh no, yeah, no, I'm hearing the scratches. And yeah, I'm like, oh no, I have some concerns because I have to edit the audio later. So yes, let's
turn that off. Yeah. But anyway.
So is that sort of flavoring all of the individual tracks that's like on a mix bus or something?
Okay, can you repeat that? I froze for 1 second.
Is the vinyl can you show how the tracks are moving through that vinyl? Is it like a bus or
this is on the mix bus. So I've got all of my stuff is routing to this, and so this is just an insert on the mix bus.
Cool.
So everything goes through here before going out.
Rock and roll. Cool. What other cool plugins and effects do you have on this thing?
Well, since we're on the mix bus, this tonal balance control is part of the neutron isotope. Again, I love their stuff. But what's fun about this is you can pick a style, and then when you play it, sing your melody and pour that. It shows you if your EQ is about what would be normal, which is great. It's a great help at. I still feel like my mixes are basement studio muddy a lot of the time, but it helps with some of that. At least your shape is correct. But
so it's showing you the shape that you want for the genre, and then you mess with it, or it's showing you what your shape is and how it compares.
Right. Like if I wanted this to be pop, sing your melody and pour that sweet, sweet rain on me. Rain, rain. So for bass heavy, obviously it's not quite as, that wouldn't work for that. Probably if I put, let's see, hip hop. Sing your melody and pour that sweet, sweet rain. Yeah, not really fitting that. And you can also do it this way too, shows the same thing. It just shows it a little differently. But yeah, I should probably put it back to rock before I confuse myself someday. But yeah, so same thing. Your melody and pour that. It just shows it in bands instead of.
Cool. So then the little lines that are moving up and down are what you have, and then the parameters are the suggestion. That's cool.
Correct. Yeah, it's nice. And sometimes, it also, when it says select a source, I can go down here and do a little bit of fixing. Like if I think, that tambourine is why the highs are too high, I can go here, and now I can adjust the tambourine EQ until this gets in line with what I want, which is kind of cool.
Oh, cool. Let's see what that looks like.
Sure. Hang on. Oops. I'm back here. Sing your melody and pour that sweet, sweet rain on me. Rain, 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 rain on me. So it does, it didn't affect the main form a lot, but sometimes there's a bass that's too much bass, or the vocal has too many mids in it or something. And it's a fun way to try and fix it.
That's really cool. Yay. I hadn't seen that one at all yet. So that's really neat. Yay. Cool. Let's see. How stacked are your vocals on this? Like how many levels do you have? I know we were talking about pop vocals before.
Yeah, well in this one, all those harmonies are cool. Let's see. I'll open up the vocals. Whew, that's a lot. For me, this is.
Yeah.
Well, there's ad-libs, there's vocal 2, there's the ba-bas, there's the harmonies. Oh my goodness. There are several vocals on this. Yeah, there's a lot. But I have them treated a little differently. Like all the harmonies are in their own little folder.
Okay.
Which basically means it's sending all of these tracks to whatever auxiliary stuff I have here in the folder. And then this folder is going out to my all vocal folder, which has a little compressor on it. And then that goes out to the mix bus.
Cool. So you have subfolders for the individual like types of vocals, and then you're putting it to a larger vocal folder.
Right. I've
Okay.
got my harmonies mixed in. So all these ad libs are not in anything, I guess. But the leads, so melodies, doubles,
Okay.
all separate. It looks like maybe the verses and choruses were on different tracks at one point, but who knows what was going on in my mind at that time. How did I get here? I don't know. I should probably make a chart. But anyway.
Yeah. This is an interesting thought, because one of the things I've noticed is how people use their DAW in the creative process, and how sometimes if you are actively writing the song while you're producing it, it gets a little like it gets a little feral. Do you have any particular habits you've noticed that you do as you're like trying to write while record at the same time?
Yeah, well, first I have a typical template set up with the number of tracks I want. My favorite plugins already in there. That saves a lot of time.
Okay.
But the main thing I do is at the end of each, or at the beginning of each new day, or if I'm doing some significantly experimental thing to it, I always do a save as. Any song, I mean, once I get a few instruments in there and I kind of like the way it's going, the next day is save as with the date, so that if I do something catastrophic and I don't remember how I got there, there are backups within Pro Tools, but I can go back to the one I liked and see what the setup was and all that stuff. So mostly, I guess it's just that I'm saving my progress each day in case tomorrow's me is an idiot. And at the end of each day, I try to remember to bounce a copy of what I have, put it in the cloud, and then that night I'm watching TV. I got my phone in my earbuds, and I am listening on a loop, writing notes to myself in. I use Box for that process because I can write little comments to myself. And then the next day when I'm mixing, I open up the comments, or whatever, producing, writing. I open up the comments and I know what I liked or hated. And then the next morning, sometimes I listen to it and I'm like, what was I thinking last night? This is great. Or this, it could be the opposite. Who knows?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've done similar systems, but yeah, I think it is very important to with mixing, because ear fatigue is such a real thing, and it feels like you're just constantly sculpting. Is having that system of separation. I find that, especially as I'm getting towards like the end process with the song, if I'm on a deadline and it's my project, I just get to a place of like, I'm it's done. It's fine.
Yep.
I do. I have friends that I send things to for like critical ears, and I have friends I send things to where it's like, you are a fan. Is there anything weird?
Yeah.
So.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. My husband is that guy a lot of times for me. And it's interesting what he picks up on and doesn't pick up on. Because, I mean, in general, I feel like I'm good enough at the production, mix, and master to fool my friends. and maybe other musician friends, but the hardcore audiophiles, like these sync licensing things where Paramount Pictures has I'm not quite. I often send things out for the final mix master in those cases, but not always. But yeah, my confidence level is not there for those guys yet.
Which is absolutely fair. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I think it is all about intention. Because if you're writing for your fans, yeah, you can stop there. But if you're writing for very specific, professional reasons, yeah, that is a whole other level of intimidation.
Yeah, well, and even my artist songs, I want them to be produced, mixed, and mastered.
Yeah.
To a pro enough level that if an opportunity came up, it would still work. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, let's see. Back to this track. I'm trying to think if there's any other fancy things we want to dive in on here. Do
you want to look at Melodyne a little bit?
Yeah, let's look at Melodyne.
Okay, and this I saved as for the Zoom call. So
Oh, good.
if I mess anything up, nobody cares.
You're not the only person to do that on this show.
It's really the safest way.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think in Pro Tools, like a year ago, I would have had to go in and put Melodyne on the track, play it all the way through to get it into the plugin. But recently they changed it so that it can, I don't know what ARA stands for, but it means I can do this clip and do a right click. And now I'm in Melodyne and it magically brings it all in and I don't have to sit through the whole track to play.
Oh my gosh. If anyone knows if that works like that in Logic now, please let me know because I am still living that play life.
Yeah. I think I might. I'll check it out.
Okay, cool. So, and for those who haven't seen it, Melodyne is pitch correction, and it is a slightly cursed experience, but it gets you there.
Yeah, well, and it's fun. I play little production games sometimes, and what's fun about Melodyne too is you can put in chords up here, highlight everything, double click, and it will lock them to the chord. So if you have a progression and you're bringing in some sort of guitar loop, you can force the guitar loop to play in the key you want, and it sometimes makes interesting sounds. But anyway, this is vocal. This is a vocal. And what I really love about this too, let me double click and we'll just hear a little of it.
Then the clouds block the sun. What a relief.
Okay, so that's, or if I hit my space bar, I can hear it in the track. But let's look at this right here.
Yeah.
See all those scribbles? Yeah, Julianne has a classically trained soprano voice, and Julianne is in her 50s now. So this would be Julianne's vibrato when she's not paying attention. And in a song that's supposed to be kind of 60s, it's okay. But let's see.
On me.
That's not too bad. But if I do this, let me see, get this guy into the tool I want. I can take this and make it
me.
Oh yeah.
Now it sounds like a robot, but it's very straight tone.
On me.
Okay.
Whoa.
And you can hear there's a little bit of weirdness. So I Control Z that, you can go back. But that helps me a lot with those vibrato moments.
Cool. And that's the little tool with the arrows that are pointing in towards each other because they're squishy. Yeah, like vibrato.
Yeah. So I'm clicking on that pitch tool and going down here. And Ceremony with a C, like celebration, but ceremony.com, I think, is the company. That's the website for Melodyne. If you get this, there's a learning curve. They have tons of instructional videos. Like, so anything that's weird, you can go to them and find out. But let's see. Let's make all these exactly in the center of whatever pitch Melodyne guessed. And
redemption coming down from the sky.
I want a key change now.
Down from the sky.
Oh.
Let's not do that. But that's how it works. If you double click, it centers it, and you can cut things in half. And I could be here for an hour.
It's so goofy how like the consonants show up. Like that's the other thing that's happening here is all the weird lines off the side of the more so the chunky horizontal things are the physical notes.
Yeah.
And then the lines are like it's a whole, it's like reading like a weird like ancient text. But
yeah. What's really cool though, and this one is mostly clean because this is the master version, so it's all done. But the things that look sort of like guitar strings or fat piano strings are the sibilants. Those are the S's. So and so I went through, breaths look like that too. So I went through and deleted all the breaths visually.
Oh, interesting.
Before having to listen and see if there were any awkward breathing. So that's a cool thing.
Sweet. Tuning vocals is I know people who really, really like it. I am getting used to it, but yeah, it's a whole rabbit hole.
It is, and it's like with pop, everything on the lead is 100. Everything's totally aligned.
Mhm.
Doubles and stuff, I go to maybe 80% accurate so that you don't have phase issues from being perfectly on the same waveform at the same time in two tracks.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that would make sense because that's part of why you want to record double vocals as a separate. You don't copy paste them, but also like trying not to sing, like trying to make sure that there is like having to go in and tune in those nuances is really interesting.
Yeah, less so on my regular stuff, and anything else, I'm just, if I'm flat on that note, I'll go in and individually highlight a section or whatever.
Cool.
But yeah, so when I'm done with that, I can flatten it, and you see how it makes little MIDI things sort of in here. And if I wanted that to save, render, boom, and now whatever I did to it, which really isn't anything, it's in there now and it's baked in. And now I can move this region around.
Okay.
Because if you don't bake it in first and you move the region, you'll be like, why is there vocal there? And it's a ghost kind of in the mix. So always render before you move anything.
Yeah. Remembering, I've definitely had when I first started using Melodyne, the simple issue of just like bouncing it.
Yeah, even after, I mean, I've been using it for a while and I still forget sometimes. There's so much to remember.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, let's see. Any other things we want to dive in on this track? Tell me about the babas and if there's any cool processing happening there.
Let me see. Where are the babas? At the end of, I think chorus 2. Let's see here. Oh, there they are. Babas. Yeah. You know, I don't think so. It looks like Baba 1, 2, and 3. There they are.
All right.
Okay. So what's on here? Let's see. This is, I think, my basic vocal chain is on everything with different adjustments.
Okay.
So all of these are not going to the sub folder for harmony or the sub folder for lead. They're just going straight to the all vocal up here. So they're going through the CLA like everything else. That's a compressor.
Cool.
Let's see, where was I? That's ad libs. Go away. Babas. There we go. Aw, Baba. Reminds me of when my kids were little. So it looks like I've got this one panned a little, probably that the next one's panned the other way.
Okay.
We're turned down a lot because it's, you know, a back of the mix stack. I've got Neutron on, and wow, it looks like nothing is on there now. That's interesting, fun. What a lot of the vocals in this mix are in is, there's a 60s folk something. Well, I'll find it somewhere. Maybe it's a different thing.
Okay.
But,
is this another EQ buddy? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is Neutron. This is again from Isotope. And I'm trying to think. I don't want to waste too much time looking for this, but there is a vocals style that I can't find right now. But there's one that's like 60s. 60s New York or something, and I have that on a lot of the vocals.
Nice.
But apparently not this one. Let's see what is on the next one. This is a typical, comes with the Pro Tools stock compressor is what this is. And I started with their typical vocal compressor thing. And here's, let's see. So to figure this out, let's loop this little guy. And let's say, compare. Okay. And it doesn't seem to be going through at all. Let's pick something else. This isn't working.
It's okay.
So, but it looks like these are mostly unaffected. There's a little bit of a high pass filter at the bottom. And the fun thing, this shows you, this is fun too. I like that it shows you the shape because high pass, low pass, it messes with my brain every time.
Oh yeah, no.
Because low pass cuts the highs so the lows can go through. And it's so easy to be EQ dyslexic with that. So anyway, so that's fun.
It's the derpy line at the end that goes like this, and then the one that goes like this. Yeah. But yeah, no, I can never say high pass and low pass. I do have to think about it as well.
Let's see. Nectar. Oh, bitch. What's this? There's the one. Okay. So I'm sorry. My bad. The first one was neutron. And that is a typical like EQ sort of thing. Nectar is vocal specific. So this is Nectar Plus. And this is the one that has classical, folk, and jazz, folk, 60s New York City.
There it is.
And it does it puts this whole band on, and that's what's on the lead. It gives it sort of a bit of an overdriven kind of sound. And let's see, I probably can't make that go away now. Anyway, and then a de-esser at the end. A lot of times I'll put soothe 2 on the end, this is another kind of a de-esser. It looks like this from Oak Sound. Oh, I don't know how you pronounce that, but this is basically a de-esser that smooths things out and has.
It's a soft de-esser.
yeah, like you can't really tell it's there a lot of the time, and then you have a lot of presets that are other producers have put in. Jakir King, Grammy-winning producer in Nashville, went to the same school I went to, like a long time ago, and then actually went into audio instead of was a stay-at-home mom for a while. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm rambling. This is what I do.
It's all good. I love learning about all these different plugins. You've shown all these ones that I hadn't seen before. I am gonna do the rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So the first question. Explain your favorite plugin like you're a sugared up 8-year-old.
Okay, I'll talk about one that we didn't look at before, but like Arcade is this fun like thing. It's full of like loops, but they're playable loops, so it's not like the other one where you have to worry the thing because it'll automatically go to the same key you're in and the same tempo and everything, and you can go and pick all these packs and you push it on the piano and it will just play this thing and you can change. It's great.
I've also worked with Arcade, and one of my favorite things about Arcade is that you have things where it's like, would you like an ocean wave piano? And then you're like, yes, I would like an ocean wave piano, and then you can just make that all go. Although I don't have Arcade anymore because I was not using it as much as it was worth. But maybe I'll come back someday.
Yeah, it's fun. And then if you take it and put it in Melodyne too, you can chop things up and make it into something totally different too.
Yeah, just all the sounds. Cool. Yeah. Yes. The note of saying specifically sugared up 8-year-old gets the result I want.
I'm so glad because it is not at all hard for me to get to that particular.
Yes. Yeah. We both worked with children. We know what's up. Cool. All right. So next question. What's one skill within the music tech realm that took a while to figure out that you're really proud of?
Wow, that's music tech realm. I think mixing in general, especially where vocals are involved, especially where my own vocals are involved. It is impossible to be objective about your own vocal.
Yes.
So yeah, the whole mixing and how to find references and how to chain things. And I'm still getting there, but I've come a long way. Oh yeah.
No, I second that. I will, there are some people who I just message them my vocals and I'm like, validate me.
What it's all about. Am I on the right track? Somebody tell me. I'm stuck here in my basement alone. Somebody tell me if I'm on the right track. Yeah.
Yep. That's the producer journey. Okay. What's one skill that you are at the tip of the rabbit hole on?
I'm going to say using loops in creative ways side with sound design and sort of impact hit score. Like I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I want to reach out to the local college where there's a film school and see if any people need their movie scored or some,
Yeah.
Making fun sounds just for kicks.
Yes. That sounds like a wonderful rabbit hole, honestly.
It's going to be deep, I think.
For sure. And okay, so next question. If you could invent a plugin with like no regard for science, you can use magic to do it, what would this magical plugin do?
It would make my mix and master sound pro. Cutting edge pro. Everyone would think I was everybody would think I was Danger Mouse or somebody.
Danger.
He's a producer.
Dead Mouse?
I know. I just
Dead
Mouse. The Danger
Dead
Mouse.
You need to-
my 8-year-old came in and ruined it. It's all my inner 8-year-old.
Your inner 8-year-old. It's fine. Danger Mouse, obviously that's your side project. You need to be Danger Mouse now.
Rick Rubin. There, how about that? There, that's a real person.
Okay, that's a real person. I don't know if I start seeing you dropping beats under the name Danger Mouse.
I know where that came from. I'll also get a call from Dead Mouse. I'll be like, yeah, nice try.
Dead Mouse is like, no.
I've got the whole mouse thing covered. Bye.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, this has been super fun. Before we wrap up and do all of the things, is there anything else that you want to say about music tech and this whole journey?
Music tech and this whole journey. I don't know, maybe because I had 2 brothers, I feel this way, but I always want to prove that a girl can do it too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that there's more women, friends of mine, getting into this area. And actually that dude named Fett, 2 T's, as in boba, in Nashville. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
He does a production for women thing, apparently, which sounds interesting. But he said something at Taxi Road Rally, I think, where like scientifically women's ears hear differently. Like you hear more of the highs than men do. And so, I mean, yeah, girls can do it too and differently.
Yeah.
And in that case, it's kind of interesting. So yeah, it's cool.
And all like the, trans and non-binary people in the space as well and all of that good stuff.
Absolutely.
I don't explicitly say this in my marketing, but I'm going to say it now. So the people who listen to the show deep enough that they care will know this. I am trying to hold to a strict 25% or under cis white male ratio for my guests, which cool. means like I can have one in every 4. Partially cool because I want to flip what is seen on YouTube and yeah, and I also think like there's a certain amount of I also think it's important to think about like neurodivergence and all this because I will say I think there is a difference too between mansplaining and like just being really excited about the thing. And I don't necessarily mind it if they're just genuinely excited about the thing, but also like there's lots of people who are genuinely excited about the thing and we don't normally see them in these production platforms. So that makes sense. Yeah. So Juli, where can people find you and support you?
I am at julisongs.com. That's Juli with an I. Thank you, Mom. Juli songs.com. And Instagram and Facebook, I'm at Juli Songs. Those are probably good starts.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for being on the DAWk Show.
Thanks for inviting me. This has been super fun.
Yeah. thank you so much for listening to the DAWk Show. Make sure to take a look at our show notes to find out more about today's guest. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you are listening and send it to all your cool music nerd friends. Okay, see you next time.